What do? You or you just play the?
Okay. All right, what's going on, Woke fam? It's Scott here from Woke Societies. How's everyone doing tonight on this beautiful Friday evening? It's beautiful out here in New York. It is 7. It's a little past 7 o'clock. It started a little bit late, but that's okay. We have a special guest in the house today. We are interviewing U.S. House candidate going for California District 15. Allison Hayden's in the house. Doing everything we can out here on Woke Societies to try to flip California red. I don't even live in New York. I don't even live in California. I live in New York, but at this point, I've pretty much given up on New York as it seems right now. So everyone, give me a 5-5 on the audio if you can for me. Let me know where you're all from, what you're doing. I appreciate all of you hanging out with me tonight and all that good stuff. And of course, thank you to all my mods. Let me bring us back here. Good evening, everybody, and thank you to my mods that are out here doing patrols on the trolls themselves. I appreciate it, keeping that chat room sexy as it always is, and all that good stuff. Yes, we're good to go. All right, everyone's giving me 5-5-5s. All right, good. When I bring Allison on in just a minute here, I'm going to do another audio check to make sure everything's sounding good, and we'll get this show on the road. So, a special thanks to my buddy Sean out there, Thinking Anon, who introduced me to Allison, said it was a great idea to interview her. I looked up her story and seeing what she represents and what she wants to achieve, I thought it was a great idea for the interview. So special thanks out there to Thinking Anon for setting this up, and we'll see whoever else wants to come on the show to get their campaign out there. Why not? Why not? My Fridays are free now, ladies and gentlemen. Doing this full time, so we're good to go. All right. Los Angeles. Oh wow, we got people from France. We got people all over the world here. That's fantastic. I see England, and it's Patriots worldwide. I love it. I absolutely love it. All right. So with that in mind, everybody, if you can, I have Allison's Twitter on the screen and also in the description below. And Allison, I didn't even think I told you, I have your link to also in the description below for your campaign for a donation. So that is also in the description. So everyone that watches this video will also see that. And hopefully we get some money rolling your way. So everybody, I would like to introduce to you Allison Hayden to the show on Woke Societies. Allison, how's everything going today?
It is really hot in California, and that's a good thing in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. It was really hot today, actually, in New York. We hit, I think, around 92, but that's the thing with New York, you get all the best seasons. But California, man, is it things? I don't know if things are worse.
We're topping 100 today. Huh?
Topping 100. I can't. Who do you think's going for the worst governor? Is it Newsom or is it Cuomo at this point? I can't really figure that one out.
Well, you said you gave up, on New York, and I think both New York and California, people. And there's a good thing we still here because we're determined to take back our state.
That's awesome. You broke up a little bit there, but that's okay. We're going to try to deal with the connection issues, but we'll figure that out. Yeah, no, California for me seems to have a little bit more hope because everybody out here in New York just seems to they always vote for Cuomo regardless of what happens. And right now, everyone in New York City is just, they are trying to get the hell out. And everybody from the city, I only live an hour upstate from the city, and everyone seems to be moving. And all these really rich white liberals, they're all coming out and they're all buying houses up here. And I don't know if this is going to be the last straw for many of these people. And hopefully, I'm hoping they see the light at the end of this tunnel, because I'm probably going to be moving out of New York at the end of the year anyways. But I'm hoping we can see some light like I'm seeing more of in California for sure.
Well, I got to tell you, Newsom, we're as broke as a joke. That's just the reality for California. And he has a bill now to raise taxes again on successful Californians and on small, medium-sized businesses. So Businesses are leaving. We now for the year.
Oh, wow.
He's lynching himself in a way because he's broke and he's losing his tax base. I don't know what he's doing or what he thinks is going to happen with this course of action.
Yeah, it seems like they're wrapped up in a lot of corruption from what I can see. And I know there's a lot of people in the chat in California screaming about Newsom right now. And I don't blame anybody. And for anybody that wants to raise taxes right now, I just don't understand how that's going to win anyone in a campaign dealing with everything going on right now. And it just seems like, especially what we just heard from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris there, they want to just increase taxes as well. I just don't understand how that's a winning strategy to take back the White House. I don't understand. But yeah, let's see here.
You know, all I can think is that to have the babes, you know, the young kids that still think a bunch of free stuff is just the best thing. I mean, who's going to vote for that? Anyone who's been around is paying those. If you have anything that you've built up, you're paying those taxes. And so who is going to vote?
Oh, you there? It looks like
you can't. That's like you said. It's not going to. And you know, I mean, the only way is this whole mail-in, this whole shenanigans going on with the vote. With the
votes, yeah, the mail-in ballots. It's not good, and it's we saw this coming from a mile away as far as the campaign strategy for the Democrats. Let me just see here real quick. All right. Yeah, it looks like some of the connection, Allison, is getting a little messed up, so it's not coming through clear. If it keeps happening, I'm just gonna ask you maybe we can just reset Zoom or reset the internet so when you speak we can hear you clear. We're gonna keep going, and if that needs to happen, it's no big deal. We'll just keep the interview going. Okay. It's no big deal. Yeah, as far as Allison, I just want I want everyone to all the audience to get to know you here, because there are some that are from California. So what is your story? Were you always into politics, or what was your career before all this?
No, not at all. I was a military brat. I'm born in California, but we left when I was a baby, and we were back and forth to Asia, to Taiwan. And that's where I spent my formative years. And I came back for college. And I went in California. Well, I started in Colorado, but transferred and graduated at UC Berkeley. Then I worked for a while in the banking sector. I was a stockbroker, banker, investment officer, lending officer. Then I kind of like, I'm not feeling it. So I joined the Peace Corps. I thought,
right.
When you don't know what to do. And so I went to Bulgaria after the fall of the communist regime there. In Taiwan, of course, we were under martial law because China was right next door. And that was kind of the rhetoric of my life in Taiwan. So when I went to Bulgaria, there was again, they were just, it was wild to see. That's pure communism in Bulgaria, and it was crazy. And so I got my head full, and for the stuff that's going down in California, and the way, not just California, but the states, of the way of cancel culture. And this is all, this is done in many, whenever the communists are around, that's what they do. They erase. They don't want to know what happened before. So, I joined the Republican Party. I had been raised Republican, but conservative. And then I went away with the Bushes and crazy stuff going on there. I joined the Independent Party. And I came back because I was asked to join Ben Carson's campaign as his area coordinator for my county.
Oh, wow.
So I did that, and I had to join rejoin the Republican Party. And then I just stayed active. When Dr. Carson threw his hat in the ring with Trump, I joined him. And the rest is history. I became the delegate to the convention in 2016. And I continued with the Republican Party. I was a secretary at one point. I acted as treasurer for a time, and now I'm a member. I'm an elected member of our local committee, Central Committee. And, there's not a lot happened in California with the Republican Party. We haven't won anything really for 50 years. So
wow.
It's, you feel like you're part of a dying breed, really. But I'm active when a couple people from the committee asked me to run against Eric Swalwell. I don't know, it was just the right time. I've been teaching after banking and Peace Corps went into teaching. I'm a special ed teacher. So I've seen the fallout of America in California, in the school, in the class.
Right.
This is a pretty dire situation. It's not just special ed kids. Even the general ed teachers have said our kids are not that far from it. And you see
right.
California's ratings, education ratings. So, people have to, if people don't step up and move to get these people out of office, we don't stand. California's going down, and as California goes, they say so does America.
Right.
So this is, this is about people standing up and doing what they can do. The door, people asked me, the door opened, and then I made top 2. Now that's a wonder in and of itself, because my county, I'm an unknown completely.
That's
in
crazy.
In those political terms. But it's been, it's been quite a journey, and eye-opening and exciting, because I feel like we could do it. This is the time. This is our hour. This is it for New York, for California, for the states, because we've been asleep at the wheel. It doesn't matter. There's no need to blame. But it's time just to take stock of what's going on and deal with it, and go in and participate in school boards wherever you can, because our complacence has put us here. But those who are, I love your channel name, Woke Societies, when people are awake and they move like you did, like you left your job and you're here as a full-time patriot delivering the news. And, the news does everything. If people don't know what they don't know, and they continue to vote in New York for Cuomo and for us for Newsom, because they don't know what they don't know.
No, they
and
don't.
They still take mainstream media.
Right.
We just spoke about that. So this is our hour, and these shows, and hopefully, they're starting to make their way across different platforms and reaching all the voters and those who are basically deceived.
Well, Allison, that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a huge uptick. Like, us and the other shows, we're not like coming together in force, but we all are doing our own thing, but we all speak to each other. We all talk to each other as in groups and circles, and we all have the same goal in common, which is to put ourselves aside and to do the jobs that the media was supposed to do. Because I was just thinking to myself today, if the media was doing their job, we wouldn't have to exist. And that's just the truth in the matter. And that's exactly why I decided to leave my job, because this to me was more important than anything. And I feel like if Trump doesn't win come November 3rd, the way we know our country, it's over. We're getting eaten from the inside out. And I just thought that was really interesting. That you watch other channels. So the chat is begging me to ask you, what are your thoughts on Q?
That's exact. Q exists because of the situation with media. Q is a person or a team close to the president, as I understand it, who is getting the news out to the people, to bring people back into participating in their lives. People have become apathetic because what goes on in Washington is Washington, and they don't believe it. They don't know what to believe. And you just, keep your head down and do what you do. That's why people don't vote. The voting rate is low. They feel like their voice isn't heard, and they feel like they don't really know they're told one thing. I mean, look at 2016. It's landslide Hillary. My God, look at the Jacobs. And so they were told right to their face what a bunch of liars Madame is. And what happened after? They're still sucking this from the same hose, after
Right.
they were given a load of bull. It's amazing to me. But, they just they're not in the habit of going elsewhere for the news. So Q is here. Thank and the left country and history, and for every single breathing member of our country coming together, fighting for our communities, for our families, for our country. And this is the most exciting thing and not just here. I mean, in France, you have the Gilets jaunes, the yellow vest movement. I have a yellow vest. When they started, before all that, I bought a yellow vest, and when I go on walks, I put it on in Berkeley.
Wow.
I go, and people nod at me when I'm walking on the trail because, they know. And so people are coming in, but they're coming from different places. And I'm wearing purple because we need to reach across and this false red-blue divide. We have now, it's about people who love America, their country, love France, and they want their country. They don't want to be ruled by elites who think they know, what we should eat, what we should hear, how much water we should get, how much electricity we should get, how we should travel and all of this under these I think a lot of it created disasters. The whole, the Club of Rome with the whole climate change thing, and we're all freaking out. And people, with the masks, I wear masks because it freaks people out. I wear it not because they don't understand. Not wearing it is not buying into that. At the same time, we have to be careful because they understand it as not caring about each other. So we don't want to communicate that message. And that's the PR coming from the Cuomos and the Newsoms, right? That if you don't wear a mask, you don't care about each other. And
that's the
I think after election, things are going to be different.
That's the thing, Alice, because you mentioned this fake left versus right, where we're just trying to find people that this patriots again, people that just love this country again, and that just resonates with the message that a lot of me and the other people out here in the Cube movement are really all about. And we're not these crazy far right racists that the media paints us as. And it's just great to hear that your message is resonating with how I could vouch to say probably most of the movement that are out there. And seeing people like you and the lady's name Marjorie from Georgia getting the nod from Trump, and the mainstream media absolutely losing their minds because she supports QAnon and what that message is about. And and we saw today with the president, he dodged the question when asked about QAnon. And now more than ever, because he didn't downplay it, but he didn't answer the question either. And it's just driven the mainstream media in the Twitter world completely on fire now. And now QAnon's getting searched more than it has been ever before. And it just seems like, if this was really all for a LARP, if this was all for nothing, then why is there so much attention on it? And why is the media putting so much resources into trying to discredit us? And it's just, I think it's really cool to see that people like yourself are getting behind the movement as well. And this isn't some kind of cult. I don't remember the last cult that inspired free thinking. Exactly.
I mean, because as you know, we are from every community across America, right?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, every kind self-defined community, and I'm seeing it from transgenders, you know, Jews who have all traditionally Jews are Democrats. They plugged their nose and voted for Trump. Some of them, that's what they said, you know.
Right.
But they changed their tune now, I think. But many. But the point is, we cover the gamut of America. This is not about, you know, any particular era identification. This is about America as an idea. The idea is that individuals and communities can thrive. It pushes the potential of the individual. It's the responsibility is on the individual. It's look at you, the big risk you took for your family to do this.
Right.
I mean, that's the kind of, you take risks, but that's the kind of thing that, oh my goodness.
Might have lost her for a minute.
You still see me?
Are you there?
Okay, there we go.
All right.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
You're back.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Anyway, we are, it is such an exciting movement. So many people are alive with it. Once they clue in and get it, there's no going back. So I think that this election, if it's fair, and it won't be, I don't know what they're going to do to make it fair, because the only way in my mind that they can win this election is by cheating it. And that's why all their eggs are in the basket of mail-in, and letting as many, the illegal letting illegals vote. In California, maybe in New York, when you get a driver's license and we give illegals driver licenses, when they sign up for that, they're signing up to vote.
It's the same thing out here, Allison. You can be undocumented and go get your license. That was passed right in my area, my local government, before COVID. And there was hundreds of people outside the government building when that went through, and no one knows who they really are. And they're handing them out like it's nothing. It's really unreal. And that's why I wanted to kind of get to your platform as far as like immigration and all that stuff. What is your platform about, and what do you stand for as far as your principles and where you want your platform to go? Okay.
Well, there's three central points: security, jobs, and education. So on the security side, we do have a wall being built. So that's in motion, and that's a good thing.
Right.
Immigration, I think right now, Trump is completely correct or on point in limiting, immigration to be on merit only. I'd add to that, in this moment of crisis of jobs and things, that we have a net zero moratorium, meaning for as many that leave, we only have that many be added to our citizenry.
Right.
That's so we have a net zero growth.
Yep.
And that those that we do add be merit-based, that they bring something to the party. They're not, the asylum laws have always been there. And this is what they cry on. But immigration in America has never been just on asylees,
Right.
It's a different day today than it was then. And asylum and supporting asylees is a real thing and needs to continue. And I'm all in favor of that. But right now, we need to take care of Americans first.
That's it.
And that's just the way it is. And that's about hiring too, which not only we have security for the wall and who's coming in and what they're bringing, but also virtual security. We have to watch the platforms that we allow. We're looking at, many platforms like TikTok. I mean, that's
no good.
Really the brainwashing of our next generation, which
Right.
They're also doing with the curricula, but I'll get there. So the platforms that are coming, and be it for businesses. I mean, the intellectual theft, intellectual property. I mean, we have to be vigilant about the use and the authorship of whatever we bring into our technologies that we adopt.
Absolutely, because I feel like
Totally.
China has taken so much from us.
Yes.
And they were stealing from us for years, especially with the last administration. I just felt like this country was being bled dry for 16 years pretty much, and we were just losing everything.
You know, as I said, I was raised in Taiwan, and let me tell you, that's like a hidden treasure, the Chinese people. And they've been sat on by the Communist Party since 1949. Look at how Taiwan thrives. And it has made, and my father was part military, we were there, and then later as business people. And there were technology transfer agreements, and Taiwan did extremely well and continues to do extremely well. And their people are free pretty much, right, under their system. But the Chinese Communist Party has sat on the strength of their people, and they have to steal, and that's so low. The Chinese are very smart people, very diligent. I mean, they have and I mean, I believe that, I'm a believer that, whoever's held back is for a reason. How much potential is being held back, contribution to the world. And that's what I'm careful not to say Chinese because it's communism.
Right.
And it has many faces in other countries too.
Right.
And that regime is it's really, it's atheist. It's against anyone having any other allegiance than to the state. And that's the squad, the thinking that's going on in our house right now. The house is right now being controlled really by that group. And the incumbent, Eric Swalwell, has pretty much joined that. He has come out openly against the Second Amendment.
Oh, yeah.
He comes from a Republican family. 2 of his brothers worked for the sheriff's department. So, I mean, he is just, I think he's just found a place as a political animal. I don't see him as a person of conviction. I think that he finds opportunity to get exposure. And right. And that's basically what he's about. So right now, I see the security issue with China big. It falls into business too, with intellectual property being stolen. But in terms of the technology with COVID, all of this COVID is the covering of everything. And so we need, the technologies that will be unleashed, like the light. They have a technology with light that will be built into construction to kill spores of viruses through light technology. Right. So those kinds of things. But we don't know with how many businesses are shut down with the small and medium. We don't know what the economic landscape is going to look like.
Nobody knows, right?
How many can come back? I mean, it's scary.
Well, that's the thing. Have you seen what New York City looks like right now? Have you seen the videos of it? There's nothing left. And it's just funny because I saw a picture. It was the Nat Geo building. I'm not sure where this was. The Nat Geo building had a big Black Lives Matter banner on the front of it. And on the back side of the building, that same building, it's all boarded up. And to me, it screamed almost so much of what we've seen in one picture of months of what we've been seeing with the hypocrisy and especially the businesses that you're talking about. Everyone has suffered. The people have suffered more than anybody, and over something that was just it should have never have gotten to this point at all. And people, like you said, that no one's going to know what the landscape is because no one knows right now when this is ever going to actually end. I have my own opinions that this is going to come to an end right after the election. That's just what I feel. But a lot of people aren't going to have businesses to come back to. And what is that going to do to the local economies? And how is that going to leave, what are they going to feel about their leaders after that? Is that going to be enough to change people and to wake them up? And it's really cool because you lived in other countries. So I'm not sure if you lived under communism, but I'm sure you saw some of it. And I'm sure you're probably seeing signs of it here already, and that's got to scare you a little bit, right?
exactly. I mean, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's kind of, even as you start something, you don't necessarily know what you're starting, but your eyes get opened more and more as you get into something. And
Right.
it's so, to me, it's so blaring before us. And the companies, like, they attacked CNN, they attacked Amazon building. Those are all supporting it. But I'll tell you why. I'll tell you I'm my little cynical self. I mean, I'm a great optimist, but I also believe that they want to tear down everything and rebuild.
Everything.
And it's
Absolutely.
going to be a whole along their lines. So they don't even mind taking it down, taking the insurance company down with them to, I think that this was planned for a long time. It is for this election. But if you look at the COVID regime, they're saying we can expect resurgences, right, every year, right?
Yep.
So we're going to have programs and new techno things to kind of adapt to that, and you have to go to work, or vice or whatever the situation, your lives are turned upside down, and this is the chaos. This is that they create communism. They call it socialism, but that's just a stepping stone to communism.
Right.
That they create all this, and lives are upset. The business environment, no one has a routine anymore because you're always going to be in this upset mode. And the whole vaccine machine. And we heard about Agenda 21. And what they, it's about depopulate. And I mean, people are on tape saying things that, I mean, what can you say? You can't take the words out of their mouth. They said it. So, if you're talking about that, then you're looking at a vaccine regime with a virus that we can't really find that many real, single morbidity COVID deaths.
Right.
Right?
No.
I mean, what's really going on? I don't know, but it doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel good. And if this is their plan for the world, because apparently you can get some of these vaccines, and it basically will make, we're all vulnerable in our DNA. It kind of takes advantage of your vulnerability. You will always be sick. You'll be going to big pharma with one thing after the other. You'll be sucking up drugs, so it supports big pharma, and then you're going to die in early death. Right? I mean, it's like, it's a sick, morbid.
Well, that's
plan.
the thing. That's the thing else. And I watched a video of one of those white coat doctors that were talking about COVID and HCQ and all that, and where all this stuff started with the vaccines. And literally, this whole thing started out in France, apparently, where they took HCQ off the shelves, or did something to the patent where it was like January 12th or something like that, which then January 13th, I believe, was the first day that I think it was out in Washington that we had our first COVID patient, but nobody was looking at HCQ yet. But in January 12th, the patent, or whatever patent law with HCQ was, it ended, and it stopped. The big pharma could not make money off of it from that date on, or something like that. It was very coincidental. I don't remember exactly what she said, but when you think about that and you think about where we're at, we have to think about who does this really benefit the most? And that's what Q keeps asking us over and over and over again. In the last 3 or 4 months, they're like, okay, when you're looking at how the world is right now, who is this benefiting the most? And it's very easy to see who it's benefiting. It's an election year on top of it, but this is what the Democrats want, and they're using this. No one can say right now the Democrats and all this planned COVID. I don't have any proof for that yet, but they are certainly using this disaster to their advantage. And we're seeing them go all in because, like you said, the only way these people are going to win is if they cheat. Why do you think they're pushing the mail-in ballot system right now? And even when Kamala Harris got on stage for the first time in front of the nation, what does she do? She goes directly after Trump, and she's talking about the post office, and she's talking about mail-in ballots. And it's like, we can see what you're doing from like 10 miles away, guys. Like, and now they're saying that Trump's trying to strangle the United States Postal Service. But I just think I know for you guys out there in California, your mail-in ballots, I think that's like almost your regular system, right? I know you guys can probably go and vote in person, but it feels like, especially in New York too, they're really pushing hard for the mail-in ballots.
Well, I vote every time, and they were mailing it to me. They converted my poll voting into mail-in without my permission.
Shocker.
So for 2016, I brought my ballot and voted in person. And then I had to change it, but to change it, I had to re-register to vote.
Unreal.
So they converted me, I don't know how many others, into mail-in voting. And people, you just get a ballot in the mail. So I'm glad that President Trump is making this point, because if you want to vote for Trump, you better take that ballot and walk it in and turn it in and vote in person, because it's one vote, but it's the rest of your life. You're right. It's game over. The constitutional republic is over if the other side wins, because I don't think they're Democrats, though. I think these are they're calling themselves Democrat socialists, but everything they're doing, and they're being financed by radical Soros, and even the Chinese Communist Party is seen to be financing BLM.
Yep.
So
she'll be back.
No, they have a plan. Yeah, I mean, I'm just, it just is what it is. And so we have to be vigilant, and we have to just not, we're so used to convenience and driven by convenience, and we have to learn to be inconvenienced. We have to stand up and be bold. We have to push out of our comfort zones. We have to get in, walk, go to the polling places are always within, are very close to where you live. So
right.
We need to do that. Otherwise they will close down polling places forever if people do the mail-in. But I think that so much exposure is given. I'm hoping that will mean that people who want to vote for Trump will walk their ballots in. That's my hope.
Well, that's it, Allison. I just want to, while I was doing this, I'm just going to hop over the chat real quick. Thank you guys for joining tonight. We're almost at 900 viewers. I would love to get to 1,000 by the end of this. That would be fantastic. So, Allison, there's a lot of people watching us right now. If you guys can hit the like button for me, make that thumb blue, and remember I have Allison's Twitter and her donation link to her campaign in the description below. Go give her a follow, and if you guys live in California, show her some love. Because you guys are going to need it. And just like I said, I have no hope from New York at this point, but I feel like there's more hope for California. So we're hearing it now. And when are you going to ever hear a candidate talk about Bill Gates, Agenda 21? You're not going to hear. I feel like maybe the candidates coming in now, they're going to be talking about more of this stuff as we see more and more of them becoming quote unquote woke. But this is the thing, Alice. We don't normally hear people in Washington, D.C. talk about the things we scream about on YouTube, on Twitter. It's like they're completely ignoring the people, and we have legitimate concerns, and it just feels like we haven't been heard for so long. And having a president like Trump is just having a president that's putting America first. And I'm looking at your campaign. That's exactly what you want to do as well. And I know you wanted to talk about the schools, and just something that really hits home with me is 2 years ago, I had my son, and my wife wanted to mention the idea of homeschooling. And I thought she was absolutely crazy. But as I was learning more about the school systems and what they're doing to kids, and that's truly where this indoctrination starts, and seeing what the schools are doing right now with the unions and all these really terrible things, I'm never going to have my kids will never go into a public school. As far as I know, they're either going to be private schooled or they're going to be homeschooled. And I would love to have the choice to decide where I'm going to send my kids to school and not have to pay school taxes. That would be great. So I would love to have your thoughts on the, you said you were a teacher for special ed. What are your thoughts on the school systems and all that?
Well, in terms of the, what you were just saying about taxes and homeschooling, actually, you might find out, I don't know if it's true. If it's true in California, it may very well apply in New York as well, is that your tax dollars, you can go with the states do set up their own virtual academies, because they saw that they were losing. They get paid per student every day of attendance. If you don't go to school, the school doesn't get paid, right?
I didn't know that.
It's the average daily attendance. So it's all about making sure kids are going to school. And so they saw they were losing it, and they did start the virtual academy. And what they did is they have vendors, and you can kind of put together your own learning program. It has to be, secular and or non-secular, and choose your own program. And it's successful with a lot of kids, and they get paid depending on what age group they're in from their taxes. They get a check from the state. So that is available in California, but others are starting charters anyway.
Right. Yeah, there we go.
They're putting under having in school, even from kindergarten, they're starting a sex ed education, which is pretty graphic.
In kindergarten.
It's pretty graphic. You can do your homework. It's out there. I put a link to something on my webpage, which is AllisonCongress2020.com. But I have a link there, and parents' rights. That's my, in the education is the realm of the state. However, the federal government did come in when we were falling so far behind as a nation. So as they did there, I think that the federal government will propose a bill where they have basic requirements for competence and independence. So when a student graduates, that they are deemed competent and independent with skills. And all the shop, the home economics, those kinds of basic things to run your own house,
right,
have been taken away. And so kids are graduating and they don't know what, they have to buy ready-made food for their kids and all of this kind of thing, because they don't even know how to do the basics of running a house. So this kind of basic competency is what a K-12 education should also bring in. We've gone way far with all these other foo-foo classes with, the social engineering agenda. And those are filling their time and space and using our tax dollars. And the kids are not going to be able to get a job and contribute to anything with, the skills that there's no skill there. And it's mostly, just opinion knowledge. So that the national curriculum, that it should be empirical. It should be proven. Transgenderism is not proven. It's a feeling. When you're a woman and you're, you can have 100 feelings in 5 minutes. If I ran with every feeling I had, I'd be in trouble. But they're basing so much on what you feel, and this kind of making a reality out of a feeling. And so we've completely this responsibility. I'm not feeling it. I have kids in school. I'm not feeling it. Well, are you feeling a car in your future? Are you feeling, what do you feel? So, we need to bring reality. We need a big cold shower in, our schools, and to get back to basics. We have to have kids come out, and a lot of their emotional states too is because they are running on a gas tank of feelings.
Right.
They're not building a sense of competence. I can do this. I can overcome this. And so we're breeding a generation of kids that are, like so weak, wet noodles, and they can't think through. I could really get on talk about the way we educate reading and math and why they aren't critically thinking. They can't, it's not just giving them the information. When you give somebody information, they have to sort through it. It goes through a process. There's critical thinking, what's real, what's not, what's a fact, an opinion, what's being inferred, right? What are the concrete facts here? All of this is critical thinking. Well, you learn these things through math, actually, because you take an entity, you break it up, you subtract, you add to it, you multiply, these the thinking skills are really delivered via mathematics in many ways, critical thinking. And so we are not teaching in a lot of ways, and we need to redo many things to get us back on the charts and get America functioning like in the 1900s. They say that, you know, if you graduated from high school at the turn of the century, our college students couldn't pass an 8th grade test that they took then. Well, I mean, so I think that we need to really redo a lot of things, and school choice is going to be critical to that process.
That's what I'm hoping, Alice. I would love to hopefully have that choice for my own son. I mean, he's only 2.5 now, so we still have some time. But the future of the public schools just looked really looked terrible to me. And my buddy, who's also a diehard patriot, he sent me a screenshot of this proposed, I don't know, bill or whatever you want to call it, that the parents are putting to our local superintendent here. And it was all like Black Lives Matter agenda. And it was like, you could tell, like, they wanted less suspension time for black kids and to look at the suspension time for white kids. Like, this is literally the stuff that I was reading. And there was this, like, these bulleted points of just clear racism against white kids. And I'm just like, I feel like if I send my kid who is white, he's going to get bullied for being white now. Like, it was really scary to see. And I'm like, we're in 2020 right now. Why are we talking about this? I feel like we're going backwards. And I just feel like if we leave our kids in these schools, and I read also a thread from a liberal teacher.
There was a California.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, this liberal teacher was talking about how he doesn't like helicopter parents because they want to indoctrinate our own kids with their agendas. And he literally put this out in writing, and this tweet went viral, and this guy got scorched. I don't know where he teaches. But he actually put that in writing and called concerned parents helicopter parents because they're afraid of their kids getting indoctrinated by someone that they might not agree with or someone who can't keep their politics out of the classroom. And that seems to be a huge concern with parents, especially myself.
Oh, exactly. I mean, I've had situations where, kids can be taken out and having an abortion during the school day, and you can't tell the parent.
That's crazy.
Your kid can be, if he or she is coming out gay or has questions about it, they offer counseling, okay, at school. But they're not telling the parent that the kid's going to counseling and who's counseling them. So that they invite these counseling agencies in. Well, it's not a balanced, discuss what's going on. It's totally, how do you be gay? Like, how do you assert yourself as a gay individual? That's what happened in the instance I saw. There was no balance. The child was flunking, okay, because of the schedule. Every week, lose 2 hours of my class, and it was either math or science. So he was flunking both of them because it's special ed. So He's flunking both math and science. I couldn't tell the parents who cared. He had both parents. In many families, they don't have that. He had both parents, and I couldn't tell him why he was flunking. I was told if I told them why, that he was out for counseling, that the school could be sued and I could lose my license. And
Unreal.
Here he was being counseled. Somebody's talking to your kid and you don't even get to know what they're saying, who's talking to him. And they knew he was coming out, of course. But this whole process, because he really was ambivalent, but became very, the language in the classroom became very, he was being groomed and told how to, assert himself. And so I don't know, I think that parents, the parents' role when a child is under 18, if that's the age of majority, that if they're still at home, then the parents have a right. This is crazy that the state is taking that away. And so this whole push of the state programs and all of this is not, it's breaking up the family. My moniker is family first. And when you take the rights away from parent and the parent role in parenting, this is going to completely decimate our society.
Well,
Our
Allison,
communities and society. Yeah.
that's where I thought this is exactly where it was going. It all seems to be getting the country ready for a complete breakdown of the family, and this is just adding a huge factor into why families in America are breaking apart. And it seems that, especially with the Dems, that's where they want this to continue to go, because if we don't have the families, we don't have our kids doing the right things, what kind of future do we really have? We got about 10 minutes left in the show here. Again, everybody, just give that like button a hit there. Turn that thumb blue for me. And also, I just want to let everyone know you are running against Eric Swalwell, and I just want to bring up some things about Swalwell and some of his big things that he represents. So, listen, you guys probably already know, but just in case, Swalwell wants to reform the NRA, the NRA. He does not. He wants to pretty much essentially get rid of the Second Amendment. He's all about gun control, and he's talking about gun buybacks on assault weapons, which we all know is just a nice way of saying we're going to take your guns. He was all about the Affordable Health Care Act and also Build Bridges, Not Walls Act, which we know was pretty much he wants the country to be open, and he wants the universal health care. He wants all these, I guess you could say, quote unquote, socialistic views of the new Democratic Party. This seems to be their platform for everything now, because, Allison, I remember when the Democratic debates, I actually sat there and watched them. I don't know how I did it, but I did. And I remember that picture of when they asked who was for this immigration law or whatever, open borders, and all of their hands went up. And when I saw that, I'm just like, oh my God. They want to destroy this country, and that's just how I feel about it. But that's what Swalwell is standing for in some of his main things. So, Allison, again, to give you the last words, your big thing on your platform, and what people, what you want to know, what's your message to the people that you want the voters to go out and vote for you tonight?
Well, I say that we don't know what we don't know, and Swalwell wanting these things, he's never lived anywhere. I mean, the lines are at the U.S. border. They're not at the borders of China or any of these other countries with socialist regimes. There's a reason, with all our imperfection, we are the most self-critical country in the world, and we're always working on ways to perfect our woes. And we have them. Yes, we have. But you are naive to think that every country is just, dancing through the tulips, because it just it's not true. Racism is alive and well all over the world. Yep. And if it isn't against one race and another, look at Japan, the most homogeneous country in the world in terms of purity of culture or ethnicity. But they managed to divide the caste system of who's better than the other. This is a human need we measure ourselves against others. So in our case, it's but my point is, Swalwell anyone advocating socialism don't know. They're giving up. It's really going into a world where the state dictates your profession. I mean, ultimately, your tests that you take, they're going to tell you what to go into. You're not going to be able to leave that if you don't like it. There are going to be so many everything is administered by the state. So if you think the DMV is a nightmare, welcome to a world of the DMV in every aspect of your life. You will, So people just don't realize that they leave those countries for a reason. And if we talk to new immigrants, we have some new immigrants running. We have Nisha Sharma. She's running in the 11th district. We have Ritesh Tandon in the 17th. We have, and they talk openly about, look, hello, you don't want, what you think you're saying you want. Right. You're buying a load of baloney, and you need to take a trip and go live 3 months somewhere, live on their system and see how great it is. So America, with all our foibles, is the best place in the world. I've been different places. I've already said, I've lived, and gratefully, I learned Chinese when I was in Taiwan, and my parents enrolled me in Chinese school. That was the first school I went to. I've lost a lot because I've been out of it. But,
right.
you know, when you know a language and you're able to function in the culture and everything, but you're, you know, I never felt that different. I was the little pale face in the Chinese schools. I never felt a difference or anything, but because they treat, you know, how we treat each other, it's a human issue. It's how you decide to treat someone. So socialism and the system of is all about division and categorizing and identifying groups, keeping groups separated from each other through some kind of antagonism, because that's the way you control people. Division, and so right? This is a strategy. This is the way it works. And if we would open our eyes, we wouldn't buy into the emotional feelings of past and all the hurts that we all get in different ways. But go for, where are we going? What do I want for me and my kids? And what system offers me the potential to get there? And this system in America is the system that is, and with President Trump bringing in all the reduced regulations and the new technologies and unleashing this fire of innovation, and we will have so many wonderful things if people will just hold on. This country has been held in bondage through this agenda, really.
Absolutely.
There's a lot behind what I just said, but the truth is that vote, get out, vote. Yes, you know, take time out, do it for yourself, do it for your country, do it for your future, your kids' future, because this is the land of opportunity. There is no other place on planet Earth. If we go down the way of socialism, there will be no refuge in the world for us to escape to.
Nope.
We have to hold on to the golden egg here. You know, it has its bad parts, but we work on them. That's, you know, we're human beings, right? We're not, everyone knows we're all working on something to make ourselves better. Well, a country's the same thing. And our country is very self-evaluative, and we are always trying to push the limit to be better. So let's do that. Let's go to the polls with that in mind and do it with optimism and hope, and not looking at what happened 200 years ago, you know, whatever, you know, that we're moving forward. We're not where we were. We're not where we could be. But thank God that we have a system and a president and an administration is pushing us in that direction. And I'm just, I thank God for, you know, this opportunity to, you know, serve my district, because we have a wonderful group of different ethnicities and, you know, different, we have, you know, land area where we could bring in a U.S. Space Force. We can do things in my district. And Eric Swalwell, he hasn't done anything because he's been waiting to basically make public transit. He's not fixing the railways. He's not trying to fix anything because he's part of an agenda to change the fabric, the infrastructure of America to be a different place. And we don't want that. I don't want that, and I don't think most of the people in our district want that.
Well, you guys, you heard it from herself, Allison Hayden. She just went ham there, and I hope you guys were listening, and I hope you guys out there, especially out in California, because I know a lot of people. California represents this channel. You guys are the biggest listener base out here, and I hope you go out and vote for her, because she is not representing the socialistic views of the Democratic Party. And like you said, it's hard to call them the Democratic Party now, because it's really not what they are. And we saw that with the recent VP pick with Joe Biden, which we all know is the puppet of the new socialist party that is the Democratic Party now. So, Allison, I just want to thank you for coming on here. It was an absolute pleasure. When you win and beat Eric Swalwell, I would love to have you back on this channel to celebrate your victory. And you're always welcome on this channel, and you were a great person to talk to. And the hour went by really quick, despite the shady internet connection. But we made through it, but we got most of it. So I just want to say
thank you for your commitment as a patriot. Thank you. I mean, it's people like you who show up and they show up in their lives. You know, you broke away from a job and you're doing what this country needs today. This is information is critical to the future of this country. An informed electorate. The vote doesn't matter if you don't know what you're voting about.
Right.
If you don't know the facts, if we don't have an informed electorate, which we don't, it's game over. So thank you for your commitment. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it, Allison. I really appreciate those words. It just motivates me to continue to do this more. And if, like I told my wife before I decided to do this, I can always get another job. But right now, to me, this is the most important thing that I could be doing until November 3rd. And we'll have to see after that, because even if Trump wins November 3rd, that doesn't mean all the problems just go away. To me, that's just the work is just beginning. And we can really get this country turned around. So whatever I can do to be a part of that.
That's the American spirit. God bless you. God will bless you every step you take, because I believe this country has a purpose and a mission. There's a reason we had this stellar rise the way we did. So
Absolutely.
We are in our second revolution, or maybe our first, some say. So let's take that ride up. I'm really excited for our future.
Absolutely. So if everyone can for me, go to the description in the links below. Go give Allison a follow here, and go to her campaign page if you feel compelled to donate to her campaign. And you guys out there in California, you better do so, because we are doing our best to flip that state red. So Allison, if you have any of your other incumbents that are running, Republican, whoever they are, if they want to come on the show as well to get their message out, I am willing to have them on this platform to get more eyes on them for sure.
Yeah, we can float. We can take California, no problem. It's time. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, guys.
Get her done.
It was a fantastic time hanging out with all you tonight. If you guys can on the way out, go check out Allison's information in the description below, and also give this episode a like and let your friends know that we are the news now. Like, share, comment, and just let everyone know about this. So thank you guys for everything. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, my latest episode, which will be out around 5 or 6 o'clock. And you know we have a lot to talk about as the world is talking about QAnon again, thanks to the mainstream media. So I'll see you guys later. Like I always say, stay safe, stay warm, and stay woke. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.